It's my turn just to make a few observations, and then we'll close the conference. We're a little company. This is a big event for us. I know we're a little smaller than we were last year, smaller still on Friday, but this is a big undertaking for a small company. You know, we could not do this without the support of our sponsors, ESRI, Google, GeoConnections, the Government of Canada, our media sponsors, other people that helped and worked with this, our program committee, both on the academic side and on the industry government side. If you think this event is worthwhile and that you not only enjoyed the sunshine but learned things, thought about things in different ways than you had before, then please go back and tell other people in your community, your organization, your company that that's the case. We are planning GeoWeb 2010. I don't know what the post-tag word is yet, but we need your help to make this continue and be successful. I'm not looking, you know, this to grow into thousands of people. I don't think that's the point of this kind of event, but it could be larger than it is. There's many opportunities to discuss other kinds of issues, and with your help, both in terms of time, and if your corporation or organization can contribute money, that's also very helpful. So enough said about that. So in addition to big event, small company type things, I think there's a number of sort of big thoughts that maybe all of us have had during the week, and I'll just comment on a few of those. One, I think it's been pretty clear that when we talk about the web in GeoWeb, that means a lot of different things, right? I mean, there's the web of documents and hyperlinking and all that stuff, and that's important. There's also the web of life that we heard from Javier. There's also, this is the web of life, just going by. There's also the web scene in terms of access to services. There's the web, which is more a kind of point-to-point kind of thing, focusing on, you know, structured queries and things like that. There's also the web of collaboration that we saw in David Bullocher's talk this morning. And these things should not be isolated things. They all have to interact with one another. So those different concepts of the web, I think, that we have in the back of our minds most of the time, they often impact the kinds of choices that we make about things like APIs, encodings, database choices, and the way we review and think about these things, right? And in very deep ways. I think we also saw many people talk about mapping and visualization, and there were some very interesting talks that looked at things like mapping as storytelling, as visualization as kind of messaging. And that also got at some of the limitations, some of the things we've lost in a way as we've moved, you know, into this era of digital cartography. You know, I mean, the traditional cartographer, we saw in one of Ken's images a plan from the turn of the century, 19th, 20th century, for the city of, I think it was Boston or part of Boston. Very different kind of feel to that than looking at the kind of sterile imagery that we would see today. So I think there's lots to be learned from the past about how to use these technologies that we're developing, also how to enhance them, so that we can be better at storytelling, because ultimately that's critical to our communications with one another. I think we saw things about architectures, which gets back to that issue about what is the web. It may be that architectures based on, say, hyperlinking, you know, with every geographic feature on Earth with a unique ID and a resource, presuming you can find a way to spatially index these billions of features or hundreds of millions of features. It may be that that, in fact, is an architecture that can be used in place of conventional distributed databases. I mean, those are open questions, I think, in some sense. So, you know, while we had kind of our cartoonish debate about that, I think those are important questions. We also saw discussion about these issue of formats and encodings. And I think there's a lot of confusion about those things still. And I just encourage people to think those issues through in greater depth, that things like shapefiles, KML, GML, they're not interchangeable things. They serve different purposes, and it doesn't mean anything to convert one into the other without some other piece of information that says why you're doing what you're doing. I think we saw a bigger interest this year, a bigger understanding about ideas of common data models and the importance of schemas, that there is this ad hoc unstructured sharing of information, which is very important, but if we're going to automate the process of information sharing, then we are going to have models. And we see that very strongly in some domains like commercial aviation, for example. We see it also, of course, in things like city models. I think we're going to need to focus still more on arguing out the separation of presentation and content, paradigms that have been around for 20 years, I guess, or more, such as model view controller, that are very popular in computer graphics. I'm not so sure we're not still mixing those things in this world.